2012. But the idea that the Christian world looks at this as the last days, well, biblically, there's a lot of plagues, famines, pestilence, man-made and natural disasters, wars, all kinds of things are foretold for what we call the end of the world or the second coming. Well, as those things unfold and take place, I guarantee you there will be interruptions in the food supply.
Yeah.
You can't have those kind of crises going on from locally to worldwide without problems. And so I just look at it and say food storage is a fantastic resource. Peace of mind. Yeah. It's another part of my insurance plan. Literally. It's self-insurance. That's why we call our website Full Belly Insurance.
Right.
You're self-insuring your full belly, okay? FullBellyInsurance.com is our website. And on that, we put together one little sheet of paper that takes 3 minutes to read. We call it Things to Know. And it points out some of the myths and deceptions we've talked about in the last 3 shows. So some just basic food storage things, the most common things you need to know, just how much food you need or how many calories. It takes all of 3 minutes to read it. But as we look at the whys to do food storage, some of the things that aren't on a lot of people's radars, that are on mine, for instance, is economics. I sat in a college class a few years back, about a little over 20 actually, and the teacher asked, it was American history or something, asked the question of all the students in the class. He said, how many of you think your lives will be better than your parents, as your parents' lives were better than yours? As I recall, I was the only one who raised my hand and said no. I didn't believe my life would be better than my parents. And he looked at me and says, well, why? Because that was not the answer he was looking for. Right. And I bucked the whole class in giving them my no. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but one of my big reasons was the national debt. That was on my radar over 20 years ago. And I said, someday somebody has to pay for all this debt. And it's going to be my generation that has to start facing it. Mm-hmm. Well, what have we done just in the last 4 years? We've doubled or tripled our national debt again in that short a time. I think when we look at national debt on a per capita basis, I was reading a story on the internet the other day, and the 4 nations over in Europe that everybody's all wound up about, do you realize that our per capita debt per person in the United States is higher than any of theirs? The only difference is that other countries, other people have been willing to quit loaning them money because they're so worried. Why they're still loaning money to the United States, even though we have a higher per capita national debt, it put us at, I think, $46,000 or $48,000 for every man, woman, and child that live in the United States. That's how far we're in debt each. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, eventually someone has to pay for that. Again, how does that translate into food storage? Well, how many college students are graduating today and can't get a job? How many people lose their job today and it takes them 2 years to find one?
Right.
I don't want to be on the government dole tomorrow. That's just not part of my makeup. Mm-hmm. I'm not against helping people in need, but we believe in self-reliance, personal preparedness. Well, that's just one reason, economics. My wife just graduated from part of her college experience this couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. The commencement speaker at the college. Of course, my radar's tuned to some of this stuff. And I looked around when he said it. He was a great speaker. He was from back east. He had done a lot in the medical world, been highly successful. But he looked at the graduating class and basically said to them at one point in his talk, do you realize you are part of a graduating class that will probably not do better than your parents?
Wow.
And I sat there and I looked around, because that's what I'd said 20 years ago to that teacher in a college class.
Did you jump up and say, I told you so?
Well, I just about did. But I looked around to see, did anybody hear him say that but me?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, again, that's one reason. Another reason for food storage, one that's on my radar in a big way, is this year in politics, a couple of things came out that really surprised me. Newt Gingrich, whatever you think of him, has been in government for a long time. Mm-hmm. On one of the debates, he was asked the question, is there anything that should be talked about that hasn't been? He answered EMPs, electromagnetic pulse.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember.
And everybody stood there saying, huh?
What's that?
Exactly. Huh? What's that?
Yep.
Electromagnetic pulse can happen 2 ways, basically. It can happen naturally through a large solar eject. Can't think of the name now, where the sun has a big flare, a solar flare.
Solar flare. Okay.
A solar flare can cause an EMP. That's a natural cause EMP. When the telegraph wires were first put across the United States, I think they call it the Carrington effect. But you can look this story up on the internet. It's well published. We had a solar flare right after they put up some of the first telegraph wires. It was so strong that it caused a magnetic field across those wires and actually arced out at the ends of the telegraph stations, shocked operators, and from what I understand, even had enough arc in a couple of places to actually light papers on fire. Well, when you take that kind of magnetic pulse in today's world with microchips, then I'll be fried. Well, that's a natural occurring one. A non-natural occurring one is where they take a nuclear device and detonate it about 250, 300 miles in the air, and you don't get radiated, but it puts this electromagnetic pulse through the atmosphere, and everything that we know today stops because it's all run on microchips. And so when Newt Gingrich said that, I thought that was really interesting. He wrote a foreword to a book called 1 Second After. That is a fictional story based on an EMP. It's a fantastic read. It's one of those books for me that there's been a few books in my life that I've read that I never looked at the world the same again. And that's one of them. I highly recommend that book. So you leave Newt Gingrich, Mitt Romney wrote a book called No Apologies. It did not do well in the bookstores. I bought it on sale. I really enjoyed reading that book. He's a fascinating person. Reading that book gave me a lot of respect for him. I wouldn't have had otherwise because he actually had more than 10 seconds to answer a question.
Right, yeah.
You could actually explain a thought in a book.
Wasn't a soundbite, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, in that, he had one little teeny paragraph when he was talking about the military where basically, I'm paraphrasing because it's been a couple of years now since I read the book, but he basically talked about EMPs. And he said, real and present danger, and we're doing absolutely nothing to protect ourselves against them. So then another book series that's fairly popular out there that people have heard of, and they know who Chris Stewart is now because he's running for office. He wrote a book called, a series called The Great and Terrible Series, or The Brothers. And in that book, in about the 5th book out of the 6 in the series, he did an EMP in it. In his foreword in that book, he wrote something to the effect, the government knows about EMPs, the military knows about EMPs, why the general public doesn't, I don't know. But if you don't believe me, look up my references and follow them backwards. Then the last thing on this, the Heritage Foundation. If you go to C-SPAN, just punch it up on your computer. Once you get into C-SPAN, they've got a search bar. Type in that search bar, Heritage Foundation EMP. I did it at 5 o'clock this morning. I know it works.
Okay.
There's an hour-and-a-half presentation on EMPs. It is incredible. Listen to the people who they're introducing. If you don't know about EMPs, it is the scariest thing I've ever heard of and what it would cause as far as actual death and destruction, if you want to say it that way. That's blunt. And they're very blunt in this presentation about what would happen if one of these was set off. And every bad guy in the world knows if you want to take out the United States, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
It's no mystery.
Absolutely. In fact, we were hearing stories, and to get a little bit off the subject of that's the way to bring down the United States of America is to stop communications, stop our ability to know. I mean, and that's basically what that would do.
Oh, it's far worse than that, because if you do that and you knock out on the microchips, it would only take 3 or 4 spread across the country to do it, but it's every well in the country turns off. 80% of all the drinking water comes from a well. All sewage system plants quit. All food production quits. All distribution quits. Hospitals turn off. Everything we know and work because we are technically dependent.
Right.
I had another teacher in electronics class way back when asked if electricity was a necessity of life. And I was the only one, again, who raised my hand, and I said yes. He said I was wrong. It's not a necessity of life. I thought, well, okay, go turn it off.
Yeah.
We've made it a necessity of life. You turn off electricity in this country, nothing is moved, produced, grown, planted, harvested, nothing, because we are completely dependent. Oh, you could live in a little area like this and still get a gravity-fed garden off of a stream, but for the 90% of America who can't do that, they'd be done.
Real key, though, that made me think is a couple of years ago, there was, and this is on a much smaller scale, we went without power, electricity, for about 2 days, as I recall. It was a major thing up north. The fire took out Anyway, it was amazing to me to see what came to a stop. You couldn't pump the gas. You couldn't cool your food. You couldn't cook. You couldn't do any of that. And it really did stop us. I got quite that was a great learning experience. I'll just put it that way.
Well, and a basic preparedness program will cover all of those needs. We tell people all the time, nobody said you had to duplicate life today to have a good preparedness program.
Right.
A basic preparedness program of your basic foodstuffs that are not electric fridge dependent, dry pack storage, some basic water supplies and water filters. Guess what you do every day? You eat and you drink. That's the things you do every single day. So what do you want to cover first in a preparedness plan? Eating and drinking. And it's not hard or expensive to cover those basic needs and have yourself ready. So if any of these events that, again, the biblical events of the last days are going to take place, I believe that. I believe I will see a good share of them, if not most of them, in my lifetime. That's, again, one of the reasons I believe in personal preparedness and trying to help people get this done in a reasonable and practical way.
All right, we're going to continue with more here. Again, Your Family Still Matters. Shane Sullivan with us. We're talking about really the whys of emergency preparedness, food storage, and this kind of thing. So stay with us. More coming up right after this.
3 months after the apocalypse.
Hey, Bob, what are you doing?
I'm eating grass. We're almost out of our food storage, and I'm trying to make mine go a little bit further. Those so-and-sos that sold us our food storage told us we had enough for a whole year, but apparently not.
We got our food storage from Shane at Your Family Still Matters. He set us up right. You and Carol want to come over for dinner?
No, thanks. We're good. Just caught a rat.
Don't eat grass and rats. Hurry down to Your Family Still Matters. They're on 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square, under the big yellow sign that reads paintball, food storage, and violins.
April 7th, 2014.
Oh, MREs again.
I'm sorry, honey, but that's all we have.
But it's been 2 years since the end of the world, Mom.
Well, you can blame your father for filling our food storage with MREs.
Hey, it was good enough for me in the Battle of Gog and Magog, and it's good enough for you now.
But the Johnsons have the best food storage. They got it at Your Family Still Matters before the apocalypse. How come you didn't get our food storage from Your Family Still Matters, huh?
Your Family Still Matters has over 250 food storage items to choose from. 900 South Bluff in Holiday Square.
8:09 to KDX, News Time, 8:50. Welcome back. Again, this is Your Family Still Matters show with Shane Sullivan, and a lot of good information today. I find it interesting, and it always makes me think, and I guess that's a part of the reason, Shane, you're here with us, is to really make us think about, and I don't think you're here to scare us and make us go, but to really think.
Yes, I am.
Okay, he's here to scare us, folks. Maybe I need to be scared. Maybe that's exactly what should happen here. But we do need to understand there are probably going to be times, like you said, it could be a myriad of reasons why you would need such things.
Right. Well, every week we're going to come. We're going to offer you a special every time when we come.
All right.
And one of them is, we were talking through the break even about, we don't live on the farm anymore.
Amen.
The average person doesn't. And even if something happened, even if you had gravity flow water, can you do a garden?
Right.
Well, guess what? Our special day is garden seeds.
Ooh, hey.
We have a garden seed pack that we're offering for $24.99. It is the absolute best seed pack I have ever found that they put together. It's 2.35 pounds of seeds. That doesn't mean anything to anybody unless they go compare to others. But I tell you what, this has got a lot of seeds in it. For $25, they're all non-hybrid, non-GMO seeds. They will reproduce themselves. That's what people come in looking for seeds. It's a really good seed pack. $24.99. Now, we're located down on South Bluff. We're at 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square. On 900 South, there is a stoplight. You just turn towards the Black Hill, and there's a little shopping center right there. And again, we have the oddest sign on our building. It says paintball, food storage, violins, and band. So we wear multiple hats, but we have the largest selection of number 10 can food storage I know of anywhere in the world. We have about 250 items in number 10 cans. And as far as I can tell, and I have people come in and price me all the time, that we've got the best overall pricing on our number 10 cans as well down there. But this seed pack is really good. Every month, we also have 3 specials up front, 3 different number 10 cans. Every month, we do some special. Try to make it a variety. Like this month, we're doing popcorn, a mixed berry mix, and a cheese powder. So we've always got those, but our special today for the listeners over the next couple of days is this seed pack. $24.99, can't beat it. We usually have those specials posted on our website as well, fullbellyinsurance.com. Most of our pricing's there. We try to keep things current. We're hearing rumors that things are going to go up. Heard that a lot lately.
I was just reading again this morning. Prices are moving up. There's no doubt about it. I don't know how high they're going to go, but they're on their way.
I don't either. Yeah. All I know is that we've told people for years that gradually prices have went up. Spending your money on food storage it beats inflation. Or it goes up with inflation, and it beats bank interest. So to me, that's all plus, plus, plus.
Right. We're all wins on that one. Again, 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square is where they're located at, and that site, I just like saying it, fullbellyinsurance.com. Check it out.
One of the other reasons that I look, we're doing some whys today. I look at a country like Iran today. It looks like, from everything I keep reading, that they're not that far from a full-fledged nuclear weapon.
That's what we hear.
So we've got a country sitting over there that does not like us, who has promised to wipe out Israel, which they call the little Satan. Who do they call the great Satan?
It's us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the logical conclusion? If they don't like the little one, and they're going to wipe them off the face of the planet.
They really don't like the big one.
Yeah,
the great
exactly.
Satan.
And so as I look at food storage and reasons to do it, my reasons, I have believed for 20 years, at least a good 20 years, that as early as tomorrow morning, I will wake up and life as I know it will not exist. That it will change that bad, that fast, and that things could get really grim in a hurry. I've been wrong for 20 years. Nobody's happier to be wrong than me.
I was going to say, good heavens. Thank heavens you've been wrong for 20 years.
But I still believe as early as tomorrow morning, I could wake up and life as we know it could simply cease to exist. Again, it's part of those biblical prophecies for the last days. I don't have a timeline. I don't. But I believe in being prepared. One of the LDS church prophets stated that he believed that the personal preparedness program, food storage, could be as important as it was for Noah to board the ark. Well, that's pretty darn important in my book, okay? But I look at all the things that are going on in the world, the financial issues, the world where we've got powers that are gaining nuclear weapons that, to me, are not stable. They don't think the same way. They don't value life the same way. And North Korea has nuclear weapons. They've got the ability to launch them a long ways. Maybe they're not as accurate as the United States and Russia, but I got news. They can cause a lot of grief and destruction. So as I look at all of the different things that make me nervous in the world, food storage is a good plan. People come in all the time and say, are you busy? And you know something? We really haven't been that busy the last year and a half. In fact, some of our canning companies that we've used forever, their canning lines have been shut down 3 out of 5 days because they weren't selling that much. See, we're in uncharted territory. Food storage always sells to people when they're nervous. And it doesn't matter whether the event is perceived or real. It's what makes them nervous. Well, now we've got a lot of nervous people coming in and talking to us. But the uncharted territory is this. Every other time in history, I've done this for 18 years, every other time that people are nervous, they buy. This time is the first time they're not fully employed, or they're underemployed, or they're unemployed.
Nervous but can't buy.
Now they have a money problem. They used to have money galore. If they were nervous, they'd come in and spend because they were fully employed, had extra money. Now the money's tightened up. It's become harder for them. It's a bigger decision. I personally believe that one day, for one reason or another, we're not going to be able to get it. And I actually think that time's running short. See, I'm scaring you again here.
Yes, you are. Dang it.
But I've told people for years that I actually believe the series of events, one way or another, would go. We'd be able to get it readily. Then money would be a problem. And then one day, for whatever reason, whether it's made up or real, that supply will be a problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think the time's running short to, if you're going to do this, make the decision and get started.
Let me throw something out. I just happened to read this morning, and it ties in a way. Food prices around the world have risen sharply, and here's some of the reasons. Heavy rain in Brazil, severe drought in the U.S., production problems in Russia, and there's some others there. But in other words, it's a global thing. We don't know, and we are affected by these things that occur all over the world, at least as far as prices. And I think it will probably get to production.
The world only operates on a 3-month food supply worldwide.
Wow.
And because worldwide, we have worldwide commerce that's easy to move things around. When the potato famine happened in Ireland, there was nobody that could send ships immediately and save those people.
Right.
Even if they had it, even if they wanted to. You couldn't do it. Today, we can put cargo on an airplane and have it there in 12 hours to 24. We can put cargo on a ship and have it there in 2 to 3 weeks. Tons of produce can move every direction today. But we still, worldwide, only have a 3-month food supply. One of the LDS scriptures says that there will be a hailstorm that will destroy the crops of the earth before the second coming. If that's true, and the world only operates on a 3-month food supply, that is going to be a horrific year.
Wow.
All by itself.
Yeah. To put it mildly, which he doesn't usually do. I can tell you that right now. Well, I got about a minute remaining. Once again, give them your address and those specials.
Okay, our special today, we've got seeds, non-hybrid, non-GMO seeds. It's a seed pack. It comes in a number 10 can. It's $25, $24.99. It's the best pack I have ever looked, and I've looked at a lot of them. We have a few other stores specials because we always do 3 items every month. We're located down on 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square. People know where Tom's Deli and Croshaw Pies, they're landmarks. We're in that complex, and our sign on our unit says paintball, food storage, violins, and band. We wear a bunch of hats. It's violin season. If your kids are doing violin, come and see us. We've got the best program out there for those rentals. We have the best selection in town by far in violins. So I'll put my plug in for the violin business.
Got her in there. All right. You're good with the wife now. That's all right. And again, you can go online at fullbellyinsurance.com and get a lot of information about that, right?
Yep.
Shane, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
You betcha. Thank you.
All right. This has been another edition of the Your Family Still Matters show here on News Talk 890 KDXU. It's 9 o'clock.
Southern Utah's #1 source for news. News Talk 890 KDXU St. George on Cherry Creek Radio Station.